is going on, everybody? This is Gabriel Jones giving you a drop of sun any chance I get. And today, after so many weeks, we're finally going to get to the debut album from Gracie Abrams Good Riddance. I've known about Gracie Abrams for quite a while, especially since she's the daughter of J.J. Abrams, the creator of one of the all-time greatest TV dramas. And from the looks of it, Gracie is now trying her hand at music. I remember listening to her EP Minor, and I thought it was beautifully heartbreaking. I'm very impressed by how well she can convey her feelings of devastation, anger, and sorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if her dad gave her some good acting advice. But in all honesty, I really jammed with songs like 21 and Teehee, and she just has this special ability of giving her songs some real weight. I would say it might be the pacing, just allowing the emotion to linger with the listener. And that is definitely something I expect when I listen to this LP today. Before we get into it though, I want to advise everyone to leave a like and comment for the video, because the more engagement the video receives, the more likely YouTube will pick it up in the algorithm, so I thank y'all for that. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell, because I could use all the support in the world, and it will put a huge smile on my face. That's all out of the way, and now it's time to get into Good Riddance. Track number 1, Best. Nice little strumming of the guitar, I like it. Title of the album right there in the opener. Neat. Yeah, I would say that's like top tier dishonesty, Gracie. She keeps telling that herself, like, I sort of failed you as a girlfriend. Like, you just wish that you never entered this relationship at all, you know? It was all just wasted effort. I'm shocked by the splash of drums, how it just comes booming in, and sort of just like hitting you emotionally. Okay, so, Best. That was our opening track for the record. And yo, that one has a lot of emotions going on there. Gracie is sort of looking back on this relationship that she had with a lover, perhaps a boyfriend maybe, and thinking to herself, man, I really did not handle that whole thing well. She keeps harping on the fact that she might have been a manipulator and how their personalities just didn't gel with each other very well. And she wishes that she could have, been a lot more communicative when it came to their relationship. Is communicative a word? I'm gonna have to look it up, but you know what? It's gonna be a word now. This whole track is just filled with guilt, and Gracie just sort of beating herself up over how much she did not contribute to the romance. I'm just floored by how much she zones in on her own self-resentment. It's insane. Of course, the music does a great job at leading us to this big climax where she just really lets it loose and just really lets herself have it. Those drums at the end really kind of surprised me, and I also really love the guitars that sort of show up at various points during the music. It's a super powerful way to open up the album, and I'm very impressed by it. Track number 2, I Know It Won't Work. Okay. I like the guitar work that's opening up on this one. Yeah, she has a real intense fear that this could lead to something bad. It's like you can't let go. There's something there that I just really want to latch onto. Yeah, this drumming, it's building up to something, You can just feel it in your bones. Beautiful line right there, beautiful line. She's just hypnotized by feelings of sorrow at the moment, it's all spinning in her mind. Backup singer right now, joining Gracie as we really intensify the music. Okay, alright. So that was I Know It Won't Work, and we are still dealing with some really heavy emotions here. Gracie is talking about how a relationship sort of fell through, and I guess she was sort of scared at what it would lead to further down the road, so they kind of parted ways, but the guy is just really trying to make it all work in the end, He's like, no, we should continue with this romance and see if we could build something upon it. But Gracie is just not feeling as hopeful as he is. And what I'm getting from these annotations, Gracie really does want to make this whole relationship work and possibly even, give it another go. but she's not feeling confident that it's gonna, like, end positively. It sort of reminds me of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You know, that's kind of like how the movie ends in a way. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen that. But I do enjoy how Gracie really, like, lays out her emotions for the listener. You know, and that's accompanied by the backup singers and, you know, the pianos, the really heavy pianos. And, you know, she just sounds very sorrowful in her own singing. Yeah, some really good work to be found here, for sure. Track number 3, Full Machine. I really like this percussion that she has going on here. It's a lot different from the other 2 tracks. Once again, we're kind of seeing how she's not confident about this romance having a positive end. You know, I didn't say it before, but I really like these guitar melodies that are accompanying her on the verses. And the electric guitar is becoming a lot more intense. This is a good sound. Telling herself that she needs to take the relationship slow. Baby, you just light me up like fucking Johnny Storm. Okay, so that was Full Machine, and I was really digging that one. Gracie is talking about how when she is with this new guy, she really feels like there's a spark between them, and she really wants to see if she can make this relationship work, you know, even if she's like spilling out all of her emotions onto him. I'm giving you a lot to carry on your shoulders, and I probably shouldn't be doing that, but I just can't help myself. You are just so immaculate. I noticed that the song title is on the second verse, where she says, "I'm a shameless caller, you're a full machine." It's sort of like she's acknowledging that I'm draining you of all your energy, you know? I'm giving you so much to deal with, and it might be taking a lot out of you. And in this song, Gracie is trying to find a healthy way where she can manage that, you know, keep this relationship afloat without, you know, making him feel like he's overwhelmed. It's good when you have self-awareness about your own flaws and, you know, try to make an effort to work on them. But yeah, I have confidence that Gracie can pull this off. Of course, this is all enhanced by the rock elements that appear throughout the tune, especially like during the post-chorus and the bridge. Like, I really enjoyed those parts. Another really decent song for her LP, I gotta say. Track number 4, Where Do We Go Now? This song I already did a short reaction to a while ago. You can check that out for yourselves. The link is gonna be in the description. But of course, we always love to listen within the context of the record. I love that escalation of pianos, high-pitched pianos, right as we lead into the chorus. You get a touch of violins, too, as she's asking herself the query. And it kind of builds like a new layer of production right here as we enter the second chorus. I like that. And like this bridge is just like so fucking incredible. Like, Jesus Christ, I love it. But I miss you. Like that singular line to end the entire bridge. You know, a lot of weight to that, you know, a lot of gravity. Okay, so where do we go now? We've talked about it before, and it still sounds incredible, like fantastic even. The way that she constantly asks herself that question, and the layers upon layers of production it builds, to that fucking outstanding bridge. Like, it is a beautiful song. I am so disappointed it did not become a hit. It probably won't, but still, it has a very special place in my heart. Like, damn. Track number 5, I Should Hate You. That's kind of like a woodwind instrument I'm hearing right there. That is a harsh line, you know. It really shows her resentment towards this guy. This one feels a lot more stripped down in its sound than like some of the other tracks, like with its acoustic guitar. Perhaps a golden monkey? Ooh, a little drum roll right before the second chorus. Ooh, we're really escalating right now. We're escalating right now. Okay, so that was I Should Hate You, and yeah, that one I really jammed with. She's kind of talking about all the problems that she dealt with in this relationship, how she, like, really, like, gave her all for this guy, only to not receive that much in return. It's kind of like the polar opposite of Full Machine, where she's sort of lamenting on how much she relies on the guy in that song, but here it's kind of like the opposite. And the title also jumps out at me a little bit. She's saying, I should hate you, after all the stress you put me through. Like, if she really hated this guy, she would just plainly say, I hate you, but it seems like the title is implying that she really is disappointed that this relationship hasn't been working as well as it could, or didn't work as well as it could. And yeah, I think that's a really subtle way of communicating your message to the listener. Of course, I am just astonished by the production. Like, I really like the electric guitars on this song, how it's like really stripped back, and the drumming that sort of escalates as the tune progresses. And of course, that fucking bridge. Oh my god, like, she is great at bridges. Yeah, this one jumps out to me a lot. It's a real standout track, and that says a lot because we've been seeing a lot of good tracks on this LP. Track number 6, Will You Cry? This kind of reminds me a little bit of Story of My Life by One Direction, with its melodic guitar. Yeah, you can really feel how murky this sort of tune is right here. You can feel the light just like dwindling. Again, she's really like repeating these lines because they just emphasize how much of a bad state she's in. Okay, so that was Will You Cry, and yeah, I kind of felt that one a little bit. I really love the guitar work on that song, how it's sort of like, constantly like feeling as if it's on a record, skipping a little bit. The drumming is very interesting, and yeah, like sound-wise, I would say it kind of vibes with me. Lyrically, I don't know if I'm too into it. Like, I like the meaning of it, where she's worried if, whether her boyfriend will actually like have feelings about this relationship when it ends, will he have regrets, will he like feel ashamed that it didn't last that long. But you know what, I don't know if I'm feeling this one too much, it doesn't really do much for me compared to like some of the other songs we listen to. We can just move on from here. Track number 7, Amelie. Kind of feels like we're sort of like at the campfire right now, listening to a little lullaby. My guess is that Amelie might be like a childhood friend that she had who eventually like blossomed into a lover, but they kind of fell out. I really like that touch of pianos right there, it's sort of like you're really reminiscing on an old period of your life. Ooh, that little voice melody right there. I kind of dug that right there. Okay, so that was Amelie, and yeah, that one is kind of interesting right there. When I hear these lyrics for the first time, some of my guesses would have to be that Amelie was an imaginary friend that she had, that when she was a little girl, and eventually she kind of like grew out of it. Or maybe Amelie was a lover, a potential lover that she tried to pursue, but eventually that fell through, and now she's just reminiscing on what could have been. But yeah, this is a really interesting track to sort of like sink your teeth into. And I really like its calming nature, along with the acoustic guitar and the touch of pianos and some violins here and there. It has a real nostalgic tone to it, sort of like you're looking back on an old moment in your life and, really imagining how glorious it was. Wishing that you could relive that sort of moment, but understand that it's now in the past and that you have to keep progressing in life. This is another real standout song, I gotta say. And now that I've really, allowed the meaning of it to sort of sit with me, I can appreciate it a lot stronger. Track number 8, Difficult. This kind of has the same start to Where Do We Go Now? Oh, that little low registered singing right there. She really hits those low notes. I guess she's wondering what it's going to be like to live on her own, really take on the big world. Ooh! Ooh! The way the chorus begins right there, bam! It just hits you in the face. Come on, you can't self-deprecate that much. I think you're fine, Gracie. That's the story of my fucking life. Ooh, I love the backing vocals during these final few seconds of the song. Really taking us home. Okay, so that was Difficult, and yeah, that one really got some energy to it. This doesn't feel so much like a song about romance, but more about like a song where Gracie is just dealing with everyday problems in her life. As she continues on with adulthood and really like develops into it, she has a lot more psychological problems to deal with. This becomes a lot more apparent on the bridge where she talks about drinking and thinking back to wrong moves that she's made in her past and wanting to right those wrongs. I mean, again, that's something I could relate to deeply on a personal level, so I feel very seen right there. She talks about having to leave home and start new relationships with different people, and that sort of frightens her to her core. Luckily, she has a therapist to speak with, and at times that might be proven to be difficult, but she's finding a way to sort of navigate her mental health. And she's really able to sell that with the production, just how splashy it is with the drums and the guitars. And she's really trying to sell to you just how much she's feeling these sort of certain emotions. And of course, I love her vocal performance, like the low registered parts, and like the way she's really able to escalate those vocals like in unison with the production on the chorus. This is a good song. I think it was one of the first singles off the album, and she made a wise decision to make that decision. So props to you, Gracie. Track number 9, This Is What the Drugs Are For. This kind of has like a real country vibe to it. Ooh, that kind of is a harsh line, sort of saying how you sort of become numb to the pain in a way. Nice little touch of the electric guitars, I gotta say, Ooh, indigo. That is a really fancy color to sort of describe the state of your mind. Okay, so that was This Is What the Drugs Are For, and yeah, that one kind of like caught my attention, at least when it came to the sound. I enjoy how she takes more of a country approach to the entire tune, and sort of like uses that to sort of reminisce on some better days. She's in the middle of a high, and she is using it to escape the thought of her boyfriend or her ex, but that doesn't seem to be working in her favor. She's trying to get rid of his old stuff, and is even like calling him to ask if he's single, but none of that really seems to be working out for her, and so she can only rely on the drugs to keep her in a happy state. It's definitely something that you could relax to, despite its somber tone, and it does stand out a lot from the tracks, I gotta say. I know I'm saying that a lot, but I think that just goes to show just how versatile her sound is. Track number 10, Fault Line. Her vocals really do complement this soft acoustic ballad. There's something about him that just keeps her gravitating towards him. Acknowledging that both of us are flawed and tend to not communicate very well. I feel the guitar is sort of picking up a little bit on the second chorus. I'm assuming the imaginary friends in this case are her emotions telling her to sort of stay away from this guy. Okay, so that was Fault Line, and yeah, that one has a lot of interesting content to it. Gracie describes her lover as a fault line, because he or she is broken in a way, but Gracie decides, you know what, I think I'm going to make some sacrifices of my own if we're really going to make this relationship work. I might slowly crack over time, but you know what, I think it's worth it if we can stay together, because I think there is some value that you have. Of course, I want Gracie to come out of this with her mental health intact, but I think she's knowing what she's doing. I kind of expected the song to build up to something, but it kind of maintained a soft sort of tone all throughout. It didn't really build up to something climactic. It just had a nice little acoustic guitar with some synths or strings to go with it. And so, yeah, I think this one is a pretty alright sort of tune. Track number 11, The Blue. I'm curious to know who this celebrity boyfriend is.
You know, maybe it's someone who really is sort of having their name in billboards. I mean, if I were a big-time actor, I would want to be J.J. Abrams too. I mean, let's be real. Sounds like a very, like, serious, sort of rough sort of upbringing. And it's so, like, overwhelming to her. Like, she is just looking at this perfect lover in front of her. Ooh, those guitars are just magnificent. Like, damn, they add a lot. Ooh, I think I hear some bells right there. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that really caught my attention. That little thump right there, right before the chorus. Beautiful. Okay, so that was the Blue, and wow, yeah, that one, like, Jesus, like, I'm almost at a loss for words for that one. That song is really interesting. Gracie is sort of singing about this guy who seems to be, like, a big-name celebrity, and he really, like, has his name in lights, and he's signing autographs and whatnot. And to Gracie, he is just the absolute perfect lover, or she might be the perfect lover. Like, I should probably acknowledge that she might be the girls. She is so enamored by this potential partner that it's almost like overwhelming to her. Like, she has no idea what to do. He just came into her life and suddenly she's mystified, you know. He used his little acting charm to put her under his spell. There's like a real romance drama feel to it, you know, something that you could hear in a motion picture. You know, the way like the drums are just thumping a little bit at the beginning of the chorus, and like the violins that carry throughout. You know, it sounds like something you could hear at the end of, like, I don't know, like a Greta Gerwig movie. I don't know if Greta Gerwig is into Gracie Abrams. This song has a lot of weight to it. It is gorgeous in its production. Gracie really feels like she's, like, falling head over heels for this guy. And yeah, everything is tightly constructed. I'm just amazed by this one. Yeah, this one, I actually mean it. Like, this one is great. And now it is time to get into the closing track of the entire album. Track number 12 right now. The low register right there. We're getting really nostalgic for this track right here. She's kind of like, you know, smoking a little bit, you know, as she's thinking back to her home life. Gorgeous with the pianos. Like, Jesus Christ. That was just amazing. I'm pretty sure your family still loves you, but that thought can really, like, mess with your brain. And those little gentle pianos serving as the final notes of the LP. Okay, so right now, a very heavy track to end the LP with. This track is probably about Gracie moving away from her LA home, or her home in California, and it's to someplace a lot colder, a lot more up in the north, perhaps. She reminisces about all the times that she hung out with her family and all the memories she created there at her original home, and how moving away is sort of like a big step into adulthood. She's wondering if she's going to disconnect from her family, if she's going to fall out of touch with them, which I think, you know, is not exactly the case, Gracie, but again, you know, that's something that could really mess with you. At the same time, I feel like there's a level of optimism with this song. She's saying, I'm so high but can't look down, left my past life on the ground, you know? It's sort of like she's elevating to a new plane, and like the past life is sort of like on like the ground level. You know, she's sort of like evolving past that and onto something better. She feels like she's really evolving as a person, but you know, it does come at the cost of like leaving important aspects of her life behind. That's a level of maturity that I can definitely respect, you know, especially when it's from an artist as graceful as Gracie. Of course, I really love the violins and the subtle little thumping. The fucking pianos, though, really tie this whole tune together. It's just beautiful. I love how she plays it. Yeah, this is definitely a fantastic finale track, I gotta say. 2 thumbs up. With that, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna let the album sit with me. I'll listen to it a second time. Then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts, so bear with me.
Alright, I am back and I'm ready to give you my final thoughts on Gracie Abrams' Good Riddance. Do you ever have a pop singer who you just know is built for the mainstream? Well, I have a few, but Gracie Abrams is absolutely on that list. I really dig her exhausted, burnt demeanor that's meant to emphasize her agony. When it comes to sound, I quite enjoy her knack for rock music, like on Full Machine and I Should Hate You. We hear a few acoustic guitar ballads on this record, and those usually don't land with me. I tend to enjoy the songs that really build up to something significant, driving home a feeling that she's confronting. My favorite instrument at play here is the piano, adding a soft touch but bringing us a sad nostalgia. The underdog here would have to be the drumming, keeping each song's intensity under control. So many of these songs talk about Gracie's struggle to keep a healthy relationship with a lover, but there are other themes addressed in this LP. It's also largely an album about maturing, which becomes very apparent with its lead single, Difficult. As Gracie begins to take on the real world more, she finds it hard to pursue a serious relationship and commit to it. Even when those relationships are far in the past, she looks back on them with shame, and that's something a lot of young people go through as they get older. I've mentioned before how Gracie is the child of J.J. Abrams, and I think being born to a world-famous director has really paid off for her. So much of Good Riddance plays like a dramatic film, a story about Gracie Abrams navigating her life as she continues to evolve as a young adult. Most of all, I love how this album ends on a pretty hopeful note with The Blue and Right Now, where Gracie becomes more confident in building a stable life. That's probably where the title Good Riddance comes from, because she's saying goodbye to her childhood and ready to fully embrace adulthood. Even if it proves to have big challenges, there's nothing that she can't handle at this point. You may feel lost, Gracie, but you will be found. I give Good Riddance 4 out of 5 stars. My favorite tracks would have to be Where Do We Go Now, The Blue, and Full Machine. My least favorite tracks would have to be Will You Cry, This Is What the Drugs Are For, and Amelie. And I think that just about does it. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this album reaction. I wanted to get to this one for a long time, but I finally got it out, and I hope you had fun. If you want to follow me on social media, be sure to check out my Twitter, my Twitch, and my TikTok. The links are going to be in the description. And that is where we are going to end today. My name is Gabriel Jones, and the sun may be setting, but I hope you were able to soak up those drops. Take care.